An enthusiastic supporter of the United Nations and of the United Nations we believe. It is a great deal of an educational institution. It is not only a debating society, but we are trying to teach ourselves and the world. World understanding, mutual understanding among nations, is a vital necessity of our day. I do not mean that understanding of itself will bring peace, but all of us know that without understanding there can be no peace. Of organizations that work in parallel lines. One of them, for example, headed by Mr. Joyce Hall there, is People to People. There are dozens of exchange programs stimulated and inspired in the United States, and now, as President Truman says, in Israel, many other places, to promote understanding among ourselves. I can conceive of no better task for all of those corporations that have international connections and do trade and operate in these countries to take on as an added responsibility and duty that of helping other nations to understand us, and by all means helping us understand them.
Mr. President, I'm glad to have lived this long. And to witness today the signing of the Medicare bill, which puts this nation right where it needs to be right. Your inspired leadership and responsiveness, forward-looking and a responsive, forward-looking Congress have made it historically possible for this day to come about. Most highly for coming here. It's an honor I haven't had done to me for, well, quite a while, I'll say that to you. But here it is. President of the United States. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like the president. I like him too. He's one of the finest men I ever ran across. Mr. President, Mrs. Johnson, distinguished guests, you have done me a great honor in coming here today and have made me a very, very happy man. This is an important hour for the nation. For those of our citizens who have completed their tour of duty and have moved to the sidelines, these are the days that we are trying to celebrate for them. These people are our prideful responsibility, and they are entitled, among other benefits, to the best medical protection available. Not one of these of our citizens should ever be abandoned or sent for the dignity of charity. Charity is dignity when you have to have it. But we don't want these people to have anything to do with charity, and we don't want them to have an idea of hopeless despair.
Senator Mansfield, Senator Symington, Senator Long, Governor Hearn, Senator Anderson, and Congressman King of the Anderson-King team, Congressman Mills, and Senator Long of the Mills-Long team, our beloved Vice President, who worked in the vineyard many years to see this day come to pass, and all of my dear friends in the Congress, both Democrats and Republicans. The people of the United States love and voted for Harry Truman, not because he gave them hell, but because he gave them hope. And I believe today that all America shares my joy that he is present now when the hope that he offered becomes a reality for millions of our fellow citizens. I'm so proud that this has come to pass in the Johnson administration. But it was really Harry Truman of Missouri who planted the seeds of compassion and duty, which have today flowered into care for the sick and serenity for the fearful.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Presiding Officer, whichever one of who you are, all three, I address you, sir. It's a very great pleasure and a privilege to me to be here this afternoon. And that's customarily said at every meeting that you have, but then I've got something to be proud of. I've had a great many honors. I've been the United States Senator, been a resident of the White House, have been a presiding officer of the county courts of Jackson County, and have been in public life ever since I started. There have been a great many people who would like to put me out of public life, but they haven't been able to do it yet. I got out voluntarily after I finished with the highest job that the public has to offer in this country of states, is the most important function that it has to offer. One of you here who can't be present, I think somebody asked me the other day when I was holding a conference over here at the library if a woman could be president of the United States. Well, I said, they've taken over everything else in the world. Why not that? And that wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't happen one of these days, because the country believes in equality. Both men and women are on an equal basis. In nearly every state in the Union now, you have the vote. You have a right to express yourself on the kind of a government you want locally and statewide and nationally. And it's the greatest privilege in the history of the world. And whenever a man doesn't exercise that privilege, when he has it offered to him, he's not a good citizen. And I say that advisedly, because the welfare of the world depends on the strength and the ability of this United States to enforce the peace. And that's what it's trying to do right now. I was present in San Francisco when the United Nations was set up. I was present at the very first meeting and swore in the people who took charge of it at that time. And it was my privilege as President of the United States at that time to set up the United Nations. And it's been a going concern ever since, and it always will be a going concern. Don't let anybody else tell you anything different. If you are worried about some of the things that are happening in the world with regard to the United Nations, study the history of your own country.
The first go-around that this country had had all sorts of troubles, all sorts of difficulties. And it took us 2 or 3 generations, and then we had to whip ourselves before we made up our mind that we wanted the greatest nation in the world. And we are just that now. I'm urging you to keep that in mind and to always remember that you are a part of the world as a whole. And your leadership is well worthwhile if you exercise your privileges. It's up to you, though, to do that. I didn't come over here to make a speech. I came over here to dedicate this building. And I'm very happy to have the opportunity to dedicate this building to education in such a manner that you will always remember that this high school is named for a former President of the United States, a former United States Senator from Missouri, and a former presiding judge at the county court of Jackson County. Step up as a goal. But remember this, you live in the greatest country in the world. Exercise your privileges. And if you do that, then you're a good citizen. If you don't do it, you're not a good citizen. That's all there is to it. And thank you very much for the privilege of coming here to make this dedication speech for you. You're very kind to me.
Please remain standing, if you will, for...
Thank you very, very much. You know, I don't know what you would think of Tom Beach when I get through, but between you and me and the gatepost, there's not an engineer in this whole United States that I think any more of than I do Tom Beach. I am happy to meet again with the American Society of Civil Engineers. We met together the last time in your fall meeting in Washington in November 1900 and so low down I can't see. There you go. Now you're thinking. That's all right now. Oh, prop the thing up under that light, I reckon. Yes, I can see all right. In the fall of 1949, at that time, I gave you a little of the philosophy of the planning and suggested that you make a place big enough to take care of the situations with which the present is to be contemplated. I cited the prospect of having a series of having to serve a population of 300 million in the United States in the next century. Well, as we are in contemplation of the growth and development of this country during the 19 years which have intervened, I want to say to you it is obvious that our estimates and planning requirements in 1949 are too modest. It was not possible to foresee at the time the tremendous developments in space and technology which were just around the corner at that time. The advances in harmonizing and of the atom for peaceful purposes, the unprecedented industrial development, and the great economic and social advances in the undeveloped countries which it had started, and which America's technical aid, known as Point 4, this Point 4 program turned out to be something that no one had any anticipation of its taking place. It was the fourth point in the message to the Congress of the United States, and it's been the basis for more improvement in foreign affairs than any other one thing that's taken place in this country in a long time. Hold on. Civil engineer, and if he's got a political background, you'd have a lot better luck. Ask Tom Veach, he knows all about it. I found that experienced engineers have acquired an unusual know-how in matters of business and finance. It seems to me that and his work attracted one. You can't learn too much. You can't know too much. The more you have in your head, the better off you are, because they can't take that away from you. Your profession has an honorable past, but most challenging future. What has been termed the atomic age and the space age covers many things, and will continue to call for more and more engineering talent. There is still much for you to do toward making your profession what it should be. It is seldom that a patient will try to tell the doctor how to remove his gallbladder, but there are many instances where a client has tried to do it and has not been very successful at it. He's often succeeded, though, in causing himself to spend more time in bed than he had any right to be expecting. In dictating details which have been his own detriment as projects become more and more complex, this practice will doubt decrease. Also, more education on your part will cause self-interest to keep the layman from interfering with the engineer's work. Finally, I would reiterate to you my philosophy of planning, which I mentioned 16 years ago. Make plans big enough and take care of the situation that cannot be contemplated.